a defeat which brings the horror of rape to thousands of German women. Berlin stands at a crossroads. Its citizens, old and new, can only guess which way the future lies.
What am I? I'm just an ordinary country girl. I did my 10 years at school, and then when the war started, I went to the front. I made my way through the Ukraine, Crimea, and then up to Berlin.
Germany's fate lies in the hands of the world's new leaders. The Reich's representatives, now powerless, must bow to their conquerors and perform their final function: unconditional surrender. The ceremonial signing takes place in Berlin's eastern suburb. Zhukov leads the Allied representatives, followed by Tedder, Eisenhower's British deputy. Just after midnight on the 9th of May, German capitulation is formalized. Keitel signs for Germany. Grim-faced, resigned, he will later be hanged for his crimes. Victory in Europe, sealed at last. At a festive banquet, the generals salute their triumph, and Zhukov dances Ruskaya, though the cameras are sent outside. For the Red Army and for the Soviet people, festival time. Even in Stalin's prison communities, the gulags, they celebrate. These rare stills show prisoners, some of them former Red Army troops. Every year, without fail, they will be forced to perform these official memorials to the war with Germany. The Great Patriotic War is over, but Stalin's war with his own people continues. In Berlin, as Zhukov inspects his conquests, Stalin turns against the man who brought him victory. NKVD agents are unleashed to incriminate him.
Он приехал, Abakumov. Он приехал в Германию.
Abakumov went to Germany on Berier's orders to arrest anyone who could discredit Zhukov in any way. And Zhukov found out. He hadn't even introduced himself to Zhukov, even though he was Governor General.
Zhukov summoned him and asked, "On what grounds do you come here without permission to arrest people? If you do not leave tonight, I shall arrest you and send you back under guard."
They now started a direct attack against Zhukov. Air Marshal Novikov and then Zhukov's personal aide, Semochkin, were arrested. They were beaten until they gave false evidence against him. Novikov had to claim that Zhukov had organized a plot against Stalin. And Semochkin had to say that he had been sent to Eisenhower to establish undercover contact.
Zhukov's treatment of Abakumov will not be forgiven. He will spend years in Odessa and the Urals with no real military authority. A long list of less celebrated generals suffer worse. This order from the Supreme Soviet dismisses Air Marshal Novikov, strips him of medals and rank, and sends him to prison. These secret documents record the arrest of some 40 Soviet generals. They will not be released until after Stalin's death. And the file of General Telyagin, hero of Berlin. Beria is informed of his looting allegations against NKVD units. Telyagin's reward, a 25-year prison term.
Some people used to take things for themselves. General Sidnev, chief of NKVD in Berlin, was one. He knew what to take. His soldiers found Germany's gold deposits buried in a vault 100 meters below the ground level. Not the whole deposit, obviously, but a large part of it. And masses of gold things. Furniture, dishes, jewelry, etc. And that's what he took. We only found out 50 years later. He reported at the time to his superior, Serov, the Colonel General of the NKVD, and they split it between themselves. They kept 4 bags of Reichmarks, which should have been handed over to the state. Zhukov had ordered that all valuables taken in conquered territories be handed over to be recorded as trophies of war. But General Sidnev didn't do that. He simply ordered that the booty be distributed among our people in the provinces.
And while NKVD troops plunder Germany's treasures, Berlin's ragged children are playing with guns and its people are starving. As occupied Germany's Allied control zones come into force, Soviet authorities struggle to feed hungry Berliners. The Soviet Union cannot spare the food, but Stalin's new regime must appear benevolent. Livestock are brought into the center of town. Potatoes are planted,